Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Victor and I help people navigate through their spiritual awakening or their ascension or their Kundalini awakening process. And this video is going to share with you 11 classic signs that you've had a Kundalini awakening. This sort of thing is it's difficult to discuss because a spiritual awakening, a Kundalini awakening, is a highly individual experience. And there can be many things that people go through that are unique to them that, again, might not fall under the lump category of a classic sign, yet it's still as much of an authentic awakening as anything else anyone else is going through. But for this video, this is going to be more classic signs, 11 classic, pretty much standard signs. So if you're going through a lot of these and you know for sure you have had a Kundalini awakening, okay? And with all what I'm about to share, there's even quite a bit of individuality within these signs because people will experience, depending on a lot of factors, varying degrees, varying intensities of these signs. For example, I had my Kundalini awakening. It was a very intense, crazy, wild, some would label it as a premature awakening, and therefore a lot of my symptoms were very intense and like in your face. But my wife, for example, just by living with me, eventually her Kundalini started to become active. It can happen sometimes if one person's awake, and you can like awaken people, just your energy sort of affects other people. But for her it was a lot more subtle. She didn't have to deal with a lot of the craziness I did. But it's just as valid. In fact, it's even better for her because she suffered through a lot less. So again, don't label yourself as, well, I'm really going through it or only slightly. It doesn't matter. It's if you resonate with these signs, you've had an awakened Kundalini, which basically indicates you have a energetic guide that's facilitating your spiritual awakening, which is an awesome thing. Number one, probably the most classic sign there is the sensation and feeling of energy, heat, tingling, vibrations moving up your spine. That's generally the path the Kundalini energy follows. It starts at the base of your spine. Once you awaken it, you sort of like unleash it, where it can kind of rise up as it pleases, you could say. And for a lot of people, you can feel it. It's not something in your mind. It's not something you visualize. It's something you feel, just as if I was to come up and start like tickling your back or like dragging my knuckles up across your back. You feel it in a very physical way. It's obvious. Number two is feeling chakra pressure. Well, I'll explain what that means because that might seem a little weird. It means that when your Kundalini is active and becomes active, it starts to open up your chakras to try to push all the impediments out of the way, and so it can flow freely through your different chakra vortices. But because a lot of people, when this awakens, we're not quite ready for it yet. Most people are in that situation. The Kundalini energy can build up, and it can be experienced as like pressure in any one of the chakras. A very popular one that a lot of people feel is pressure, like sinus-like pressure in your head, in your head, or especially in your forehead, eyebrow, face. You could feel it again, almost as if you have a bad cold, like your sinuses are all messed up, like mine are right now. I have a slight cold, but you don't have a cold, and yet the pressure is very much there. Number three is quite a strange pair here. Your life will start to kind of break down for a lot of people because the Kundalini awakening is bringing you into more unity with your true self, which is oftentimes very different from the character you were playing prior to your awakening, and therefore your life is a reflection of that character, not who you are. And the Kundalini awakening is facilitating this very spiritual process, and this will be reflected in your life. A lot of aspects of your life become out of alignment with your growing vibration, your new core self who's emerging as the Kundalini clears all the rubble away. But the experience of it is like, wow, everything's going wrong. My life is falling apart. I just got fired. My wife just left me. Everything's just, a lot of problems are falling into my lap much faster than I would care to experience, and it's quite stressful. Paired with bliss, with bouts, random bouts of spiritual connection that is very noticeable, and it's like, wow. And that, I believe, comes when we need it, to sort of say, it's gonna be okay, man. I know how it looks, but here you go. Enjoy the bliss. When I would feel in the beginning, when my Kundalini would like rush up my spine, as I described, it would feel ecstatic, like euphoric, but in a different level, not just like a synthetic euphoria you get from drugs. It was more of a spiritual ecstasy. That's the best way I would describe it. Just bliss, just awesome, wow. To where even it helped me, because I was going through a lot of issues at the time, and it was just sort of a tangible experience that indicated to me that I am in fact going through a special process, and I'm going to trust it, because this feels too good to just write off. Number 4, and this is temporary, but you might experience your health in many different ways declining. You might feel older, achier, more tired. You get winded and fatigued more easily. You might be getting sick more often. You just feel like your body is not doing a very good job with handling life. And you feel, maybe I'm just getting old, man. But I felt like this when I was 22, 23 years old. And I felt like I was 100 for years, unfortunately. And it's just because our bodies are not yet used to all of this Kundalini energy that's now flowing through us. It's sort of rewiring us in a spiritual, mystical sort of way, but also in a very physical way, because we are in physical bodies, and there does need to be adjustments. There's a physical reaction to the spirit Kundalini energy that now is present and growing in quantity and intensity in our body, and the temporary experience as our body for a little while has trouble keeping up with this influx, this raising of our vibration. But it's temporary, and it's actually a good sign, and it's nothing to worry about, and it's very normal. Number 5, aspects of your life that used to satisfy you on some level, to some degree, become unfulfilling, sort of meaningless, devoid, unable to cultivate pleasure, happiness, joy in you, because again, it's just sort of like why your life breaks down. You're just changing so fast. A lot of things we used to do, like hobbies or interests or movies we'd watch or something, or even music we'd choose to listen to, has a different effect on us because we're no longer that same person, yet we're still doing the same things. And even though it's kind of depressing when you go through that span of time where nothing satisfies you, it's not that nothing satisfies you, it's just that what used to satisfy you no longer does. And it's time to find something new. And when you find those new things, which you all will, they will satisfy you in a far deeper and more real, you'll have a real strong resonance to your new music preferences, favorite TV shows, activities, sports, whatever. So don't get too, mopey when this happens. Just see it as, okay, wow, even though it's a bit annoying that this used to make me happy and it's not making me happy, and right now I have nothing else to do and I'm really unhappy and bored, say, okay, let's go try something new. What universe, hey, what could replace this? Start putting that out there, and ideas will come, okay? And again, it'll be worth it. You'll be happier with the new stuff than you were ever with the old stuff. Number 6 is surprising dietary changes. You might start on a physical and psychological level craving foods that you never would have imagined yourself eating, having aversions, strong repulsions to foods that once you might have loved and eaten the crap out of your entire life, and now it's like the idea of it just makes your stomach turn. The sight of it is disgusting to you, and you don't like the taste of it anymore. You're like, why? How does that happen? That makes no sense. I used to eat mac and cheese every single day, and now all of a sudden I can't stand it. Like, what's up with that? Usually when this happens, again, you'll have sudden cravings for other foods. And it can be all over the place. Sometimes you'll find yourself craving real light, high vibrational type diets when your body's sort of in need of a cleanse. Maybe I just can't stop eating oranges. I've had 14 oranges today and I could have 17 more. I'm loving these oranges. And that'll wear out, and then you'll say, wow. And you'll crave like pasta and rice and like noodles because your body now needs to kind of ground all that and needs to rebuild itself because you are a physical vessel still. And you might crave like junk food sometimes, and your body just needs all the calories to keep up with this crazy process you're going through. But it's just a testament that you're going through this awakening, and it's doing a lot of rewiring of your body. Number 7 is a newfound or just strong thirst for spiritual knowledge. And this can be, there's no right or wrong way. For me, what I became just fascinated with was the idea, I started reading a lot about near-death experiences. I just found it just amazing, just fascinating. All these people shared such a similar experience that had such a divine quality, and it was just very believable to me because it was just so many people. And I'd watch some people on like a TV show. There's a couple of TV shows I would watch, and I believed them because I could tell when people are lying, and it was obvious they were being honest. They were just speaking very naturally about these incredibly divine and amazing experiences. And then I'd go and I'd read all these different accounts, and it was so fun. It was so like, wow. Dude, you don't really have to worry about dying because it's awesome when you die. And that was just sort of a way of getting me into, again, starting that pursuit of spiritual knowledge, intellectual type of understanding of metaphysics or whatever. And you might find yourself just on a kick, into that sort of thing, and maybe in a very different way. Maybe you're like really into tarot cards and you're like obsessed with tarot card and read all about the tarot, reading about the tarot now. This is just a sign. You're changing, and you're waking up to your divine nature, and your divine nature is aware of all these cool divine things that exist, and you'll find yourself interested in them very organically and naturally. Number 8, and even though I mentioned your body falling apart as a sign, these 2 symptoms in particular are very common in a Kundalini awakening. That's fatigue, physical fatigue to the point where you're like, dude, do I need to go to the doctor? I should not be feeling this way. Nothing has changed, and yet I'm extremely, ridiculously exhausted. Or insomnia. Or you would just say disrupt your sleep patterns become all over the place. There's times you're like sleeping like 10, 11 hours a day, and you wake up and you're like, man, I could sleep another 10 hours. You might do that for a few weeks. Then there's other times it's like 4 in the morning, and you're like, I'm not at all sleepy. I haven't slept in days, and here I lie wide awake. My mind's awake, my body's awake, and I don't see how I'm gonna fall asleep. And then it's just all over the place. But it can be a little annoying because if you're not sleeping, obviously, you'd be a bit crabby. It'll make you feel even more fatigued, and your body does need rest, and all those other physical symptoms tend to intensify during these periods. But it's temporary. It's a good sign. It means your Kundalini's going, you're going places, and just sort of suck it up and deal with it. It'll go away eventually. Number 9 is strange, bizarre, somewhat of a spiritual quality, activity, phenomena, happens to you at night when you go to sleep. You might find that you're real sensitive. You might feel energies, presences of beings sometimes, light flashes. Might close your eyes and see like lights and geometric shapes and different like sacred geometry and all sorts of cool wild stuff. And it can make it very challenging to sleep. You also might find that your Kundalini, the energy rushes, the energy movement throughout your body is more active at night because that's when you finally relax, and then it can like start to move about where you might have been a little bit uptight and rigid and blocky in your everyday life, throughout your day-to-day activities. Then when you lay down, it's like the energy can move, and sometimes when the energy moves, it's manifested also as like a weird flash of light, or again seeing visions, or leaving your body randomly. All sorts of really crazy stuff that you wouldn't really dare tell anybody, but you find yourself going through it now. And it's like it's every night thing. You're like, dude. I remember when I was really focused on opening my third eye, and this is really shortly before my Kundalini awakening, and then I sort of had this afterwards as well. But I would find that anytime I went to sleep, I'd close my eyes and I'd see all this third eye activity. It was like I'd see these gorgeous lights, these geometric shapes, and it was just like very distracting. That caused me not to sleep, just because it was so like, wow, this is something else. Number 10, you might experience bouts, periods of confusion, disorientation, just on all levels. It can manifest maybe in a particular area, or just about life in general. You start to like wonder, like, who am I? What do I want in life? Where am I going? I don't know. You don't know any of those answers, but you have the questions, and that's one level. Another, you can just feel kind of out of sorts. Like I went through a period, a couple of years, where it was very hard for me to think clearly. In fact, I had to drop. I was in college at the time studying psychology and philosophy, and I had to drop out. I couldn't read. I couldn't comprehend, because I just had that, like, my body was going through so much, and I just could not. It was a waste of my money. I was not able to read a paragraph and absorb the information like I should be able to. So that sort of like heady confusion. But just feeling really off. You'll have time where you just don't feel yourself. You feel like more nervous, more anxiety than normal, difficulty speaking fluidly, finding the word. Your head might be cloudy. It's disorientation, it's confusion. It sucks, I know. I didn't like it. At the time when it was the worst, I was a personal trainer and had to like talk to people every day. And they would see the wild fluctuations. Sometimes I was like Zen Victor, and other times it was like 10-year-old little inner child ego Victor had taken over, and combined that with these weird symptoms, and that's how I was forced to come off to these clients. Anyway, so that's normal though. That's okay, man. Don't worry about it. That's what you're going through. It's temporary, and again, you're going to be happy you went through it, because you're going to get to experience a lot of the benefits that come along with the Kundalini awakening. Number 11. Experiences, feelings of confirmation, validation. Some people have synchronicity, repetitive numbers. They would see certain songs that always come on that produce a feeling within you that says, I trust I'm on the right path. I know it's wild, but I'm where I'm supposed to be. You might have that watching a video like this. A lot of people might watch this and think this is just stupid. This guy is just talking out of his ass, and he wouldn't have lasted this far. But sometimes when I would hear other people verbalize and vocalize the experiences I was going through and felt very alone with, I would have these feelings. I would sometimes cry, like have these tears of joy and these intense positive emotions to say that, yeah, you found your thing, man, that there's a connection there. Okay, so again, that's why it might sound scary, a lot of these symptoms, but you'll all have that in your own way. Might not be a video or this video, or might not see 11:11, but you'll have your own way of comforting yourself when you actually need it. There's a lot of growth to be had, feeling uncomfortable, feeling afraid, going through this uncertainty. But there are times, again, when you actually need it, you'll have the comfort and the validation and the experience to remind yourself that it's all okay. You're just going through a very positive shift right now, and even though it's confusing, it's leading to a better place. So I made this video because I didn't have there was nothing as clear and concise like this when I was going through my awakening. When I had my Kundalini awakening, I didn't even know what the hell had happened to me. All I knew was something crazy had happened, and I was changing. And I had to do a lot of digging, a lot of research to finally find information that resonated with me, that comforted me, letting me know I was going through this. That's why I made this whole YouTube channel. That's why this video is here now, because I'm creating what I felt there was a lacking of, so you don't have to feel the way I did, okay? It's a very positive thing. There will be ups and downs and challenges, but again, it's nothing you can't handle, and it's all going to lead you to a place in your life where you're just extremely happy to be. You'll be happy and grateful for all the ups and downs, all the trials and tribulations you went through. You will be grateful for them. You will see the value of them, and it will benefit you, and then you can go forth and benefit others in whatever way seems fun to you. So with that, I will close. Have an amazing day. Namaste.